So we're live now on YouTube, guys. So if you're not there, boom, he's coming straight over. What skip trade software do you use? I have TLO Batch now. Finally, after a year and a half, I have TLO Batch. If you guys want to use the same TLO I got, use reiskip.com. REIskip. What's up, Jamie? It's my homie back from. So I'm gonna give you guys a few minutes to come on here. Today, this is episode 5 of the live, and we're talking about delinquent property taxes leads. How are you going to find those? We're going to go live here in a second. First part of this is how it works. I'm going to go through my whole spiel telling you about delinquent property taxes. And then after that, we're going to have a full 20, 30 minutes talking about whatever you want to talk about. Q&A right after that, right? So if you guys are watching this on Instagram, go to my last story, swipe up, and watch this on YouTube because there's a whole slides and we're talking about other stuff, and you're going to see how I made 20 grand on a property that we closed on in December from the tax delinquent list. All right, so you're going to move into this. All right, guys, so we are here. Okay, let me pull up my chat for this. Pop out chat so I can see what you guys are saying. Also on the broadcast over here. Boom. All right, guys. So let's go right into this, and we'll start talking about delinquent. Yeah, I'm going to keep this video up, and I'm going to keep the video up, obviously, on YouTube as well. Let's see here. All right, so everybody, notepad is ready. What's going on, Lewis? A big Lou. I talked to him today, man. Dropped some knowledge on him. He was booked a live one-on-one call with me. All right, here we go, guys. Let's jump right into this. Slide number 1. Here we go. All right, so slide number 1, obviously here, we're going to be talking about how to wholesale delinquent properties. All right, so YouTube's up and running. We're going to talk about delinquent property taxes and what they are. And I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys have heard of it, just not sure how to find them or what to do when you actually get them, okay? So here's what property, and people are saying, all right, what are property delinquent taxes? So we're going to go off of this. Property owners are required to pay property taxes, right? On time as well. And if an owner fails to pay any time their property taxes, any unpaid portion of that is considered delinquent. And the taxing authority, such as your county or your state, has the option to satisfy this debt by foreclosing on your property. The tax authority may also sell the lien that they put on your property to somebody else. So say, for example, you got two types of states. You have a tax lien state and a tax deed state. I'm going to explain the difference. I live in North Carolina, so that's a tax deed state. So what happens is when you are behind on your property taxes, they will they can foreclose on that property and sell your property at the courtroom steps, and that's what they usually do. Usually after 3+ years of delinquent taxes, they just put you in the system and boom, you're done. All right, so here goes another thing. Then you have the tax lien states. So South Carolina is a tax lien state, and what this means is if you owe property taxes, the county puts a lien on your property. And after 1 year of that lien being there, they'll sell the lien to an investor. And these people come from all over the country. And what happens is they guarantee them 18% interest on their money. Okay? So say, for example, let's keep this real simple. If you owe $1,000 in back taxes and the county decides to sell the lien to an investor, the investor can get up to 18% on his $1,000 if and when you pay the delinquent tax. You have up until 1 year to pay that delinquent tax in a tax lien state, and if you don't pay that, then the lien holder, which is the guy that bought it a year ago, can now foreclose on your property and you get kicked out. So that's what a tax lien state is. I'm in a tax deed state. I like it. It's much cleaner. It happens so fast. So here's how it goes. You owe taxes on the property. Let's just say $1,000 as well. A couple years goes by, you don't pay the taxes. Then the county automatically sells your property at the courtroom steps, and the person that gets it owns the property free and clear. Now here's why we like investing in and finding tax delinquent properties. Now, if you don't know, property, when you have a mortgage, you have PI, TI, right? So that's principal, interest, taxes, and insurance make up what they call a mortgage payment, right? So PI is the principal amount that you've borrowed. The interest is what they charge you on your interest rate. The taxes is what they pay the county. And number 4, the insurance is what, so that the mortgage company can ensure that their investment or the mortgage they gave you is just not going to go up in flames, okay? So all of that PITI equals your mortgage payment. Now, most properties that are behind on taxes are owned free and clear because the mortgage company is going to pay your taxes regardless if you pay your mortgage company not or pay your mortgage or not, because they don't want to lose the property. So this is one reason we really love going after delinquent property taxes, is because the person, the homeowner, if they owe property taxes, more than likely they own the house free and clear. Very rare chances they might have a second small loan on it that they acquired from somewhere else. And here goes another cool thing. Property taxes are always superior to whatever lien or mortgages on the property, right? So you can't just, when you buy property, it's superior to whatever lien was taking place. It's always number 1, even if it was put on after. Okay, so that's what property taxes are. So you're thinking, where do I find tax delinquent? Where would I find these properties? And let me see here, my slides messed up, but where would I find these properties? What you would do is, where you would find these type of properties is at your courthouse steps, and where basically you're going to go to the county and you're going to ask them who has who in the courthouse, or it might be a separate building. How can you get a list of properties that are delinquent on taxes? And they're more than happy most of the time to give you this list, just because it helps them collect taxes. That's how the city operates. That's how people that work for the city. Yep, your county assessor. Your county assessor is going to know where to get the list of properties that are delinquent on taxes. And like I always tell you guys, if you know me and you watch my YouTube videos, you know that I preach that you need to know how your county works, and you need to spend a lot of time with the people that work at the county and find out these things, because it's going to crazily increase how you are doing. And for you guys just tuning in, I go over a topic, and then the second half we have Q&A, and you guys are allowed to ask anything. All right, so what I want to do is go over one of my deals, but before I do that, the reason why, so we told you the process and how they sell the property at the courthouse steps. Now, what happens is people that are regular investors will go buy property at the courthouse steps. And I consider, and one of my rules in my business, we try not to buy anything that's for sale. And if a property makes it to the courthouse steps because of delinquent property taxes, it's for sale. So what we try to do is get these properties prior to them actually hitting the sale. And if we can find that, then we can negotiate with the homeowner and usually buy it less than what you can buy it for at the courthouse steps. And this is important, because if you wait for it to get all the way to the actual tax delinquent process, what's going to happen is you're going to have 10 to 15 guys out there with cash that are going to be buying the property, and they're going to be bidding against each other. Now, if you're smart, you go find it before then. Now, in my county, how it works is they usually publish a list of things that are going into tax foreclosure, usually 30 or 40 days prior to the actual foreclosure sale. And what we do is sometimes they slip through the cracks and we don't get a hold of them. We'll just go run that list and we'll call everybody on that list to see if we can get a hold of them to make a deal prior to the actual sale, and that way we can negotiate. So if you guys are watching on YouTube here, I'm going to show you what an actual deal looked like that we closed. So this was 5297 J Bird Lane. Now, how this came about was there was a tax delinquent sale happening. I believe it was going to be in January, this month actually, and I seen this property on the list. I liked the ARV. It was between 150 160. So I did some research to find out that they only owed about 15 grand in back taxes. I couldn't find the owner. He happened to be in jail. So it was hard to get in hold of him, but when we actually got a hold of him, his mother was on the outside, so we created a power of attorney for her, had the document sent to prison so it was signed for him to her be the power of attorney. And what we offered them was $20,000 cash. And here's how it makes a little difference. When we're negotiating houses that owe back taxes, here's how we like to phrase it. So if a property owes 15 grand in back taxes and the seller, you're going to offer the seller 20 grand, here's what you're going to say. So what we like to offer is say, listen, ma'am, I'm going to give you 20 grand cash for this property, and then I'm going to take care of the back taxes. So in this scenario, it was a total of $35,000 is what we offered for the property, but we worded it differently. We're going to give the lady $20,000 for this property, cash, and then we were going to take and pay the $15,000 of back taxes ourselves. So with that being said, the total offer was $35,000. We turned around the next day. We shot out an email and a text for $55,000, and we sold the house for 20 grand. And somebody got a wonderful deal because there's still 100 grand in equity and only 20 grand's worth of repairs on that property. It was just a quick thing we did, knocked it down. So that we made $20,000 on that wholesale deal, and in a blink of an eye. And we saved that from going to the courthouse steps. Now, a lot of guys that went to the auction were probably pissed because this was the best property at the auction that was just being displayed that day, and we bought it for $35,000. Now, anybody at that auction would have paid 100 grand for that property easily, but we were able to pick it up prior to the actual sale, and it was done. So that's kind of my spiel on delinquent taxes and why they're great to actually invest in. And you guys should look into that and see if you can go to your county assessor's office and see if you can get the information on properties that are delinquent taxes. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go to Q&A, which I know you guys like. What's going on, Alex? Yeah, it's a win-win situation. It's a win-win situation. So now we're going to go into the portion that we call Q&A, where you guys can ask us any questions. I know I did a small impromptu live the other day without giving you guys any warning, and you guys shot off some good questions. So let's see how we can help you guys tonight. What's going on, Brian? Brian knows exactly what I'm talking to. I talked to him one-on-one. He booked a one-on-one call with me. We went more into depth about delinquent taxes. He went right down to the courthouse and found all the data he needs, and that's going to change his business. So how do you present your cash offer the way rather than just offering $35,000 all cash? So Hayden, that makes good sense. I found out that they needed money, right? So what I needed to know is what they wanted to walk away with. And the first thing she kept telling me, she wanted $65,000 for the property, and she was going to pay the back taxes. So that means she wanted about 40 grand. And I was like, I'm not going to give you 40 grand. I said, and then I asked the question. This is one of my favorite questions. Okay, 40 grand, but what do you really need? What do you really need for this property? What do you really need? And I kept saying that to her. And eventually she said, you know what? Tell me what you'd give me. Right? So I already knew she wanted 65. I wasn't going to give her 65. I could have gave her 65 and made money. but I offered her 20 grand. And I told her she's in between a rock and a hard place because there's not many people that could come up with that cash to buy the house and actually save it from going into foreclosure. And now if it goes into foreclosure, she gets nothing. She gets absolutely nothing. So it was up to me to give her one offer. Once I gave her $20,000, she was happy. And how I presented the offer was this. Now, to me verbally, I said, listen, I'm going to give you $20,000 and I'm going to take care of the back taxes. So there's two ways you can write that on the sheet. What you can do is say, I'm going to pay $20,000 cash for this property. And then you can put in the addendums or the notes is that you're also going to pay all back taxes, right? So essentially the offer is going to equal $35,000 because it was 15 grand in back taxes. Somebody's asking, how much does these records cost? Normally in my county, it costs nothing because, listen guys, if you just try this, when you get off of this, go to Google, type in the name of your county, put blank county tax delinquent list, and then see what you find. You'd be surprised. It probably just pop up in a PDF right there and just go online. So you might not have to go downtown, because each county that has property that is delinquent, they have to advertise it somewhere in the newspaper to give proper notice to anybody that does not receive mail. It's just the old way of doing things, but it works. So you shouldn't have to pay anything for these records. Yeah, we set a couple people from foreclosure right before it went to the steps. Yeah, saved. Exactly. So you can do these same things with mortgage foreclosures. Just make sure your numbers are right. All right. So let's go over to YouTube and answer some questions. Hey Max, how do you determine the repair cost on that property? Were you able to inspect? Yes, I was actually able to inspect the house. There were some squatters in there. And I didn't go, but my acquisitions manager went. We just give an estimate. Listen, I sold the property with 100 grand in equity, so I didn't even care to really give an estimate, right? And when I sent that email out, it says, big headaches equal big profits. An investor bought that in 24 hours. I got a list with over 2,500 names. How can I narrow this down to quality leads? So if you got a list of 500 names and they're all tax delinquent, they're all quality leads. You just need to jump into that. My county tax delinquent record is 1,000 pages long. So Serenity, my tax delinquent records were, I think, 2,800 houses. We narrowed it down to about 15. Because what we do is we only go after houses that are 2 years or more behind. Okay, let's jump over to Instagram. Somebody says, how do you handle homes with tenants in them? Is it your problem or the buyers? So Mike, it's the buyers. You need to make that very clear. And it's actually easier for them to do the eviction after they take possession of the property, right? So on this one, the lady bought it, we made 20 grand. I paid my attorney $400 to do the eviction on the squatters, right? So our net profit was $19,600. It's fine. So you let the buyers deal with it. You just be upfront. Listen, there's people in there that tenants, either bad tenants that haven't paid in a while, and you're going to have to deal with that eviction after, but you're getting such a good deal on the property that eviction doesn't matter. It's going to take them 30, 40 days and $400. Question. Omar says, do you send mail, cold call, door knock, or something else? Max, title list doesn't give phone numbers, just names and addresses. Omar, that's all you need. So if you have names and addresses, put them in an Excel sheet and you're going to get them skip traced. Go to reiskip.com and just pay to have your skip trace done. It's 24 cents a lead. That's very manageable. I use it. It's actually us. It's actually a company that I'm involved in. And basically what happens is it took me a long time to get TLO batch skip, and if anybody knows, it's very hard to get, and I get them at 20 cents a lead, and I sell them to you guys at 24 cents so that I don't have to pay the person doing the skipping to do it. Let's see here. When you cold call the list, do you bring up the fact that the property is facing tax delinquent? That's a good question. No, only if I really have to. Here's what I say. I approach them just like anybody else. Hey, may I speak to Tim? This is yeah, this is him. No, you don't say me speak to him. Say, hey Tim, this is Max. How you doing? He's like, who is this? Oh, I'm a local real estate investor, and what I want to do is I want to ask you about this property. I'm not even sure if you really own it. I want to ask you about a property, but I'm not even sure if you own it. It's 123 Main Street. Do you own that property? And he's like, yeah. I said, cool. He said, I was driving by and I seen that property and I didn't know if you wanted to sell it because I think it looked vacant. Is that house vacant? No, it's not vacant. I got tenants in there. Okay. Well, you ever thought about selling it? Yes or no. You get into that whole thing and it goes from there. So I'm not going to show you. I do a whole nother video with my cold caller so you guys can see how that works. Are there any risk involved with this type of home sales? No, it's nothing. You pay the back taxes. The city will love you. I think this year alone, last year, I think we saved the city maybe around 300 grand. We collected over 300 grand in back taxes for the city, right? One company. I don't think there's many companies out doing that. What contract do you use for these tax delinquent deals? My same contract. I just put the purchase price in there, and then you can go say we'll pay all back taxes. I get my list, not them buying. Not sure what to buy them. In this situation, does the contract change instead of being a purchase and sell? Nope, same exact contract. Listen, every house you buy and sell owes taxes, whether it's currently for the 10 days that they haven't, but every single house owes taxes from the beginning of the year till now. Right now, there's properties out there that owe 7 days worth of taxes. When you close on a property today, 7 days worth of taxes have to be paid. So every house is no different, just that the tax bill on tax delinquent is much larger. And you just factor that into the price. Do you have a cold calling script for tax delinquent owners? No, I don't. It's the same list. It's the same cold calling. And you know what I noticed? A lot of you guys, ladies and gentlemen, want a script for everything. There is not going to be a script for everything. You just have to go out and do it. You guys are always wanting the perfect scenario. There is not one. Just go out and talk to them. That person losing their house is just another human. Tell them what you can do for them. Tell them what your company offers. You don't need a script for every freaking scenario in this business. You just need to go out and do it. So, Mike from Mike and Vic Investments says, can you actually explain how you can actually stop a foreclosure from going to auction? What do you have to talk to? Who do you have to talk to? So, here's the end game. Anytime a foreclosure is about to happen, the only thing that can stop it is money that is owed. Okay? So, for example, if you have a house that's going into tax foreclosure, if the balance is paid, which is paid at closing, it's done, right? If you want to not go through the whole sale process, you can just go to the county's clerk office and just pay it. If it's a mortgage foreclosure, and they can either accept your back payment or not. Mortgage is a little different. They can accelerate a due on clause, which basically says you got to pay everything. We're no longer accepting back payments. I can go more in depth with that on another video, but it's pretty simple. How you stop a foreclosure? You make the payments that are back owed. Let's see here. I'm going to Instagram. You said REI Skip is the website, reiskip.com. Okay. How do you train your courthouse runners to pull the list, or courthouse runners you already know? Nope. Robinson Law is asking me how do I train my courthouse runners to pull my list. So here's a secret, guys. When I was just making $10,000-$20,000 a month, I knew how to do every aspect of my business, from acquiring, running lists, pulling lists, selling houses, taking the pictures, everything from A to Z. And I had to learn that in order to teach somebody. And I was talking to Brian the other day, and I said, Brian, listen, if you were in charge of all the bus drivers for the school system, and the route for that bus changed every single day, how could you teach somebody to drive that route? You can't. So the system, the reason why I say that is learn your system 100% before you try to train somebody how to do it, because you don't want to train chaos. You don't want to train the unknown of what you don't know. All right? So if you're making 300 calls a day, how big are your lists and how often are you updating them? So my lists are huge. I spend a lot of time gathering lists and data, right? So you can have a tax delinquent list. You can have a 65 and older list with 50% equity. You can have a probate list. You can have a list that is just code violations. You can have a list. Listen, and sometimes they don't even have to be on a list. They can just be in a zip code that I like. And I'll get every single body's number in that zip code, and we're going to call everybody, every single one of them. He says, I quit my state job to pursue this after seeing you, brother. Oh, man, that's heavy on me now. He said he quit his job because after seeing what I did. That's flattering. But don't call me to pay any bills. Just joking, man. Best of luck to you. You can do this. I promise you. If I can do it, anybody can do it. Kenneth, you can do it. Trust me. If I can do it, anybody can do it. Brian says, how often do you call the same list? So, here's what happens. My live cold caller has to call somebody 7 times and up to 12 times before we determine where they are not. Actually, the new rule is 12. A person has to be called 12 times before they get marked off the list. And that call, imagine if you had to mail somebody 12 times. That's expensive. Very expensive. All right, somebody on Instagram says, you said you only go after 2 years or older because of the intimate foreclosure. So how would you apply that to tax lien states? So tax lien states are different. You want to, the moment they release the list of people that are going to foreclosure sale, you need to attack that. In tax lien states in South Carolina, I don't know how it's set up, but everybody's set up. You have a very small window. Yes, we do leave voicemails. You have a very small window on the time that you have in order to, what's up, AJ? I'll be in Carolina on Tuesday. You have a very small window on the actual time that you have to attack the list in a tax lien state. But here's what you do, guys. Go to your county courthouse or whoever does your taxes and your foreclosures and ask them the process. Brian knows. Brian talked to me. He went down to the courthouse and asked them how it works, and he gathered so much information in probably less than 2 hours. Let's see. Where else we at? So Brian asked how long. Do you text sellers or use ringless voicemail? So what is the best time to do so? So Daniel, I don't text them unless I've had a previous conversation with them. I don't use ringless voicemails because there's no such thing as a ringless voicemail. It's just a marketing term. I can go deeper into that. Ringless voicemails are no legal than actual ringless. It's not real. Ringless is not a real term. The initiation of a call is somewhat frowned upon. So we do use a call system, which there's another video I can go over and show you guys all about that, how to use that. All right, another question is, what would you do if the homeowner waits until the last minute to go under contract and lets you say 5 days before auction? Would you pay off the taxes to extend the auction date? It depends. If you got a great deal on your hand, you put that house under contract and then you pay those taxes. Absolutely, you can do that. Or you make sure your cash buyers list is so fire that when you shoot that thing out, boom, you give it to them. And it's closing that day. And sometimes if it's 5 days, you can go down to the county courthouse and say, listen, I have a contract to buy this property. I'm going to buy it in 10 days. You guys says 5. Can you hold this sale off for a little while? Sometimes they'll hold the sale off. Now, Lou, that can be a motivated seller, but it's up to you to convince them. If you know they want to sell, just sell it. But if you got 5 days to sell, I bought a house in 24 hours, 36 hours. My attorney's been able to close something. What do you use to text blast? I use to text. I use, this is to my buyer list. We use call loop to text, and we use, what's the other one we use? And to email, we use MailChimp. Yep, call loop and MailChimp. 30 grand owed. Call me. If the deal's sweet, I'll pay it. How do I build my cash buyers list? We're gonna go over that in another video, man. But basically, you want to reverse engineer how to build your cash buyers list. There's many ways to do it. Here's one way. I'm not even gonna mention that. Listen, if you want to find out your cash buyers list, go to auctions, like the auction we're talking about, and actually sit there with some business cards and find out who's bidding on properties and ask these guys what they like to buy. Tell them, say, listen, here's simple. You go to the auctions whether they have live at the courthouse steps, and here's what happens. You then ask these guys, hey, I have properties like these that you can get for even cheaper. Or here's another thing. If you don't even want to leave the house, pull the list of all the houses that are going to auction. These are foreclosure auctions and tax auctions in your area. And then when those, a month later after they sell, go back on the county's website and see who the new owner is. And there goes the list of cash buyers. All right, guys? Find the houses that are going into foreclosure. Okay? Write them down, put them in an Excel spreadsheet. After they go into foreclosure and they've had the foreclosure sale, a month later, go to the same properties on the tax data website, type that in the address, and see the new owners. And those are your cash buyers. What percentage do you close versus assign? I assign 100% of the properties I do not intend to keep. I don't do any closes because my buyers know that I can make as little as $2 grand on a property or $200,000 on a property. It's not their business. So if you got investors that don't like that, then don't do that. So Sean Terry's RVM, no, I don't use that. I've been doing that type of stuff for 6 months. But if you guys need a good CRM to use to do that, I mean a good interface. I don't know the program. I don't know what this program does, but I'm assuming I know what it does. If you need a good interface to do these voicemail calls, then do that. All right, guys. You guys have any more questions for me? You guys are running dry over here. How long have I been in the business? Full time for a year and about 7 months. What about sellers? How do you hide assignment fees on sellers? Man, you know that question. Hit me up in my inbox. You in North Carolina. I'll show you exactly how you do it. Listen, matter of fact, if you use the attorney I use, Money Making B, if you use the attorney, you don't even have to worry about that. There's 2 sides to every HUD. You had to double close? Nah, man. Use Attorney Ellison, man. You'll never have to double close. Wasting that money. When on Craigslist, what is the best way to look for motivated sellers? The best way to look for motivated sellers on Craigslist is don't. That place is dead and dry. All right, guys. Any more questions? Any more questions? How did you find your attorney? I just asked around. Somebody told me a good attorney that does works with investors. I make more than my sellers on a lot of my deals. All right, it says, I know this isn't the topic. No, this is a question Q&A, so the topic is anything. What when doing your bandit signs, how many zip codes would you advise a beginner wholesaler to target with $200 a month, with 200 a month starting off? So I'm not sure if that's $200 or 200 bandit signs, but I do my whole county, man. So what I would do is, all right, listen, um, bandit signs, put them where you know you want the houses. Put them all around that area, and that's how you determine. Somebody says, so there's really a way to hide assignment fees from sellers without double closing? No, it's not really. You don't want to deceive, guys. You don't want to deceive anybody. That's not what I'm teaching you guys to do, is just deceive anybody when it comes to these things. Um, don't do that. You don't need to hide your assignment fee. The sellers are not going to care. If you have a good attorney, it's two sides to the HUD. And there's a seller HUD and a buyer's HUD, and they're just going to go over some of the information right there. It says, I emailed you a few days ago. Could you maybe send me the purchase agreement that you use on your properties? Yeah, I'll send one over. I'm going to add it to my Facebook group. If you're not in my Facebook group, it's search Wholesaling Houses Elite. Wholesaling Houses Elite, add there, and then I add a lot of files that you guys can download for free. I came on late. What are the two different tax states? You have a tax deed state and a tax lien state. So Mick and Vic, what you want to do is look that up. What's the difference between a tax lien state and a tax deed state? And I'll tell you quickly. A deed state sells the property. A lien state sells the lien. And then after a year or so, you can then foreclose on the property if you're the lien holder. You pull this list 2 times a year, correct? Yes. I pull my tax delinquent 2 times a year because that's how my county puts them out. And that's what's important. It's I pull it 2 years because my county puts out fresh data twice a year. If Craigslist is no good, where exactly is good? You want to find, oh man, how much do I pay my attorney? I don't know. That's a good question. I think his closing cost is around $200-300. How much do I spend on marketing a month? My whole business every month has a fixed cost between around 10 grand. That's employees and marketing. No, attorneys work in a certain state. Their bar works in a certain state. What works best for you to find motivated sellers? Depends on my area. So motivated sellers, go after tax delinquent lists. Motivated sellers, if you want to find somebody that's motivated, find somebody that doesn't pay their taxes. Do you virtual wholesale as well? I haven't really yet. I've done a couple deals in some other markets, but not intentionally. What numbers are you trying to hit this year? $3 million. I'm trying to do $3 million in wholesaling fees and some other stuff that I got in the works. So you quit your job a year and a half ago? Yeah. I didn't have a job, but yeah, I quit whatever I was doing. What VA firm do you use to make your calls? I don't. I created my own call center with my own VA, so I interviewed every single one of them so that all my employees that work remote, they came from internal house. I didn't use a house or anybody to pick my VAs. Question, I have a sale that's under contract but can't move until after closing. Needs the funds, $2,500. My buyers will not close until the seller has moved out. So you need to find new buyers because the seller has up until closing day to leave. And if your buyers are being that picky that they can't extend 1 or 2 days beyond the actual closing date, then you don't need them as buyers anyways. Because the likelihood is they're going to close on the property and they're not even going to go to the properties for like 2 to 5 days. So what is the difference? Is building a team essential? Yes, after you know exactly what you're doing. Would it make sense to loan the seller $2,500? How do you secure it? I wouldn't do it. No. Do you use list source then get numbers from the data? You can use list source. I don't do my skip tracing through DataZap. I got TLO. So I use that. You can go to reiskip.com and do some skip tracing if you have a list. Do I suggest CallRail? I use CallRail in my business. It's my main computer switch. It's my main telephone hub in my business. looking at more questions, guys. I'm going to give you guys about 5 more minutes. I'm going to go watch this new TV show I haven't seen. How much do buyers look to make on the back end? Usually 15-20%. That's a good question. Every buyer is different. Yep, I use CallRail every day. Can you use a title company instead of attorney? We are an attorney state, so we don't have title companies in North Carolina. Hey Max, did you find any new strategies to increase that buyers list, bro? Yeah, I'm building that this week. I don't know what course I used. If you guys looking to buy courses, how accurate would you say TLO is compared to regular skip? TLO is the top skip tracing software in the world. I heard you say before you bought a course to learn about AdWords. Google search I Am Warrior Tools. That's all I'm going to say. Google search I Am Warrior Tools. You can find any course you want. So your CallRail bills high as hell. Use a combination of CallRail and let me see what else. Use a combination of CallRail and let me see it right here. And Dialpad. Dialpad is your main number. CallRail is to do recording your calls. How did you find a good VA? I had one VA that was working for me for a year. She lives in the Philippines. She was also a hire and training manager in the Philippines. And then she turned around, and anytime I need her to hire somebody, she hires them for me locally because she knows what to do. Do you suggest white page premiums? You can use white page premiums. I've never used it. I use TLO. And so if you guys want to do skip tracing, reiskip.com. But I've heard white page premium works to an extent. How many buyers do you reach out to a week? As much as you can. I have somebody that's a disposition manager, so that is all their job entails. So 40 hours a week, they're trying to find new buyers. How do you get goal set? Yeah, so Joe, it says my delinquent list only has money owed and the name and the neighborhood, but no phone numbers. Yeah, you have to skip trace them, the phone numbers. In this business, finding people's name is skip trace. Does REI skip have TLO quality? REI skip is TLO. I'm telling you, REI skip is something I'm partnered in, and we use our TLO to find the numbers. We just have batch. It's hard to get batch TLO. Do you start out having money to market, or did you build over time? I started this business with nothing, right? Overdrafting my card to get gas. I made 21 grand in the first month. So you slowly start putting. You trust VAs to cold call for you? Are you kidding me, Sean? My whole team. All right. If you guys haven't seen the way my business is set up, go to YouTube and watch my $100,000 a month wholesaling thing. Rate my $100,000 a month wholesaling video and watch that, and you'll see the structure of my company, and you'll see that VAs, virtual assistants, or I like to call my remote employees, they actually run my entire company. Only people that is stateside, my attorney, my acquisitions manager, and my dispositions manager. My VAs can outwork my VAs, my cold callers, my lead manager. I would put them up against any lead manager or cold caller in America. Where can you get this sweatshirt? You want to look up Cargo Bay Company, Cargo Bay CO. So do that. All right, guys. How do you rate Deal Machine? I like it. I haven't made a deal from it, but it's cool. So, all right, guys. So we're done. Anything else? Thank you. All right, cool. Listen, guys, I really appreciate you guys spending your time with me and really learning this wholesale business. You know I do this stuff just because I want to see everybody win. So anything you have learned tonight, please take it and put it into use. Don't forget to go to my YouTube channel, Subscribe to my channel. Hit that little bell next to subscribe. So you guys, what's up, Sassoon? I'll be back in LA soon. Do that. Go subscribe to my channel. I don't use Freedom Soft. My CRM is Investor Fuse. Investor Fuse. So listen, subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you guys want to go more in depth with me and figure out some stuff with your business, whether you're just starting or you're already doing well. If you guys want to go in depth, you can book a call with me. The website is callme.therealmaxwell.com. Callme.therealmaxwell.com. If you guys are going to go one-on-one, I've had some good calls this week, and check my calendar, see when I'm available, book a call, and let's make some money. Remember, guys, if I can do this, anybody can do it. We're doing $100,000 a month now, and with some new tools and new stuff that I've learned, we're trying to do $3 million in business this year. 3 million, guys. 3 million. All right, guys. You guys have a great night. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. I'm gonna go watch some TV. I don't watch TV, guys, so this is gonna be new for me. So I appreciate all you guys. Like I said, follow me on IG at The Real Maxwell. Go to my YouTube channel. Type in Maxwell. Find me. Subscribe. All that good stuff, guys. Book a call. REI Skip. All that. I love you guys. Take care. Good night.